Welcome to the inaugural video broadcast of West Coast Jazz. I'm the director, Patty Wendling, and we're bringing this show to you to enhance your cultural experience on CCX Create and Southwest Community Television, to introduce jazz to all of you. And we have the stars of our show, the hosts of our show. We're going to start off with a little introduction. Cher Dial, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
All right. Well, for years I worked for Dolly Parton and her sister in the country music field, and I sprinkled myself in with a little bit of radio here and there. And it hasn't always been country, but mostly of country.
Sure.
And then I had moved here to Minneapolis, and I got a position at KFAI Radio, and they had asked me if I did interviews, which I had not done. And I interviewed Stella Parton, and they said, "Oh, you did a great job." And so I ended up starting my own podcast, and then by a chance meeting, I met Vaughn here, and
Wow.
he was doing his podcast, West Coast Jazz, and asked me if I wanted to join him, and I said absolutely, and here we are today, and I'm just so happy to be here with him.
Fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm so happy to have you.
Oh, thank you.
You have a great voice and a great background, and
thank
very
you.
pleasant.
So Vaughn,
too.
tell us about yourself. So you two met, how many years ago was it that the two of you met?
I'd say about, 4?
4 to 5.
Yeah, 4 to 5 years.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Very
And
good.
and it's great because he is like an aficionado, literally, of jazz. He knows every single thing about it. So I learn from him,
Yeah.
and I think that's a great aspect of it. And then our listeners can learn from him.
Absolutely.
So it just goes, both ways. And
Sure.
so I think it's a perfect blend of us,
Yeah.
together.
I'd say. And then for all the viewers, they get to learn something about jazz, maybe even in the future come on the show or call in. We may have local artists as well. But Vaughn, tell us a little bit about yourself, because jazz is in your blood. I mean, you've been
it
in
is.
jazz for a long time.
Well, my father actually started with playing with Glenn Miller while he was with the Air Force. He was in the percussionist. And when Glenn Miller got lost at sea, and my father mustered out of the Air Force, he came back to California, where I was born, and started playing drums for the Von Monroe Orchestra. I think I have a picture of Von Monroe up there. And Von Monroe is my godfather. And
Wow.
That's
that's where I got my name.
Wow.
You might have heard the intro that we just played a little bit, Count Basie. And I remember my father telling me when Count Basie would come over to the house, I would be on Count Basie's knee, and they'd be listening to jazz. So my background started out in big band jazz, and then it progressed to what I would call progressive jazz that came out of the big bands with bebop, for those jazz fiancés that remember that. And it went into progressive jazz. And then I started playing the clarinet in elementary school. I got to high school and started playing the tenor and baritone sax. And I played the tenor sax in college out at LACC in California. And I remember John Coltrane and Miles Davis and Gerald Wilson Orchestra would come up and down the West Coast and teach us students how to, and especially for me, how to play doing runs on the saxophone. And my first song ever that they pounded into me was Round Midnight. So that's my background, and I've spent the rest of my life going to venues all over the world and meeting famous artists. And as the show progresses, we'll be talking about some of those experiences.
Well, that's so great.
Yeah,
I mean, we're so
definitely.
lucky, really, fortunate in the Twin Cities to have a resource like yourselves, both of you, both bringing different music genres together for this West Coast Jazz show. And so I guess let's, without further ado, why don't we get into West Coast Jazz?
Okay. Welcome to West Coast Jazz. I'm your host, Von Norberg, here with my co-host, Cher Dial.
Hello, hello, hello. Good to be here. And, you know, can I bring up a little something about that song that I think is kind of interesting?
Sure.
Okay. It was actually written and produced by Steve Allen. And so I think that's, you know, kind of a little tidbit that I wasn't really aware of.
Yeah.
So I think like with this jazz too, you're going to find a lot of different artists that you didn't realize was in jazz have something a lot to do with it. And so that's kind of interesting. And of course, you know everything. So
Well,
if I'm wrong, I know you'll let
I
me
don't
know.
know
Believe
everything.
believe me.
I don't know everything, but I will add that Steve Allen also played the clarinet, and he was also the first host of The Tonight Show.
Right.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
So,
So, yeah.
All right.
All right.
So let's give him another song. Cher, what do you got coming up?
I have Dave Brubeck with Take 5, and this is basically the most popular jazz song of all time, and it's also in the Grammy Hall of Fame, and it's Take 5 by Dave Brubeck on West Coast Jazz.
And Dave, by the way, played the piano, and I'm trying to remember who the alto sax on this was. I don't know if we have that here, but
Could find it.
we can.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
we'll
look it up.
research it for you. But let's hear Take 5. Now you can look it up.
Yep.
Okay, our research analyst looked that up, and that's Paul Desmond on the alto sax. And as you said earlier, that was probably one of the most. When did that come out? In the 60s. I think I was in high school.
Yeah, 1959, I think. Yeah.
Oh, 59.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
You're dating yourself there.
well,
Close.
okay, I'm not going
By
there.
1 year, you were close. By 1 year. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody has heard that song.
I know,
It's
right? Yeah, as
so
soon as you hear it. Yeah.
iconic, really.
Definitely, definitely.
When was the first time you remember hearing that song? Do you have a memory
Gosh.
attached to that?
I
wonder.
When I
Do
was
you,
younger, I know
Vaughn?
that.
Well,
for
I
sure.
remember, I guess I was leaving junior high. They didn't have middle school like they have here in Minnesota. It was called junior highs. They have
Oh,
since
right.
changed, by the way, to get in step with Minnesota. Now they call them middle schools. And I was just leaving middle school and going into high school when that song came out. And it was a very fond memory. And because I've already been in jazz for many years up to that point, it just fell into place with me. But it was the first time, because I played tenor sax and baritone sax, that I fell in love with the alto sax. So that was important.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just kind of takes you back to like the late 50s, early 60s kind of vibe, when
Oh,
you
yeah.
heard that kind of stuff.
It just sounds so cool.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I mean, if
exactly.
you're having people over for dinner, you
Yeah,
want to be playing
right.
that song when you
Martini,
yeah,
you
exactly.
know. Yeah, exactly.
Serve them a martini to
I know,
start. And,
right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Too fun.
Well, do we have another song for
Yeah.
our audience?
We do. We have Milt Jackson with Ad Lib Blues.
Okay,
Next.
we'll ask Richard, our engineer, to cue that up for us. Let me tell you a little story about Milt Jackson before we play it.
Sure.
So I was going to Los Angeles City College, like I mentioned at the time, and studying under John Coltrane and people of that caliber. And I met this young, lovely woman at the gift shop on campus. And I thought, oh, I need to ask her out, for a date. So I did, and I thought, well, where should I take her? Well, again, my whole life was in jazz, so I took her to Shelley Manholes in Hollywood, and that was a club that was underground. And I took her over there, and they were featuring Milt Jackson. And I remember I was probably 19, 20 years old at the time, and we went down these cool steps down into the stage door. And there was a doorman there, and a big brute, 6'4", 285 pounds, black individual. And he said, well, what are you two doing here? And, of course, my date and I being both white, I said, well, we're here to, listen to Milt Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, well, first of all, you're not 21. And second of all, you don't want to go in there. Well, right at that time, Milt Jackson himself comes out the door to have a smoke break. And he looks at my date and I and says, well, what's going on here? And then the doorman tells him, he says, well, they're not 21 and they want to come in and listen to you. And Milt Jackson turns to him and says, well, that's my cousin.
Oh, really?
And I'm looking dumbstruck, like, okay, I'll go
really?
with it. And he says, put him in the back row, give him Shirley Temples. They're going to listen to my show.
How fantastic.
yeah, what a
Wow.
story.
This is the song they played at that time, Ad Lib Blues.
All right.
Let's listen.
Oscar Peterson. Milt Jackson. Let's hear it for Oscar Peterson and Milt Jackson. I don't know when you're going to get this again, folks. Oscar Peterson and Milt Jackson. Kareem Reagan's on the drum.
The ad-lib blues.
That was great. And, of course, he had the great story about going
yeah.
into the club and
Yeah.
your Shirley Temples. But I forgot to ask you, whatever happened to your date?
Oh,
You know, what happened?
good question.
Yeah.
Did I impress her?
Yeah, did you?
She didn't like jazz, so
Oh.
I never called her back.
Oh, no,
You know,
really?
you got to either be with me or not with me.
Oh, my gosh. I can't believe that.
The thing I'm thinking about when I'm listening to that was with these recordings that are recorded in a club,
Right.
it transports you.
Oh, sure.
You feel like you're there.
Yeah.
And you suddenly feel cooler than you felt 5 minutes before you listened to that music.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
definitely.
And the other thing is the pianist, the way that the pianist was playing, it sounded like a xylophone.
Yep.
So he
And-
must have been introducing the xylophone that
He
was coming, right?
He was setting up the xylophone, Mel Jackson, who
Yeah.
comes in a little later. But Richard, you'll play that on the full show.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I remember my first, actually we were talking about when I can remember, my first remembrance of jazz was I lived outside of Chicago. My dad worked in Chicago. He was an artist. And his studio was on top of this building on Michigan Ave, and in the bottom was the London House, which was a famous, famous jazz club. And I remember he used to call my mom and go, I had too much to drink. You gotta come pick me up. And man, we'd go down there, and I'd go in there, and I was just a kid,
Wow.
and there'd just be jazz musicians playing there. I remember my dad would say Louis Armstrong. Everybody would be in the London House. And then, you know, so that's one of my first memories. Have you ever heard the London House?
Well, no, but my father played right next to it at the Black Hawk Lounge and
Wow.
Hotel.
Okay.
And he played drums in that venue. If anybody's from Chicago area,
Right,
they
yeah.
might remember the Black Hawk.
Yeah, because, you know, blues, jazz, I mean, that's where, you know, it was really big time back
Oh,
then.
yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
One thing I wanted to point out is that what we do on our show, remember, I came from the big bands, so you're going to get a lot of that, late 50s, a lot of 60s, some 70s. And the progressive jazz will be featuring a lot of that in our upcoming shows, as well as the blues. And we are going to do some features with popular female and male singers. So you'll
right.
get a taste of a male singer coming up here at the end of the show. And also to the listeners who would like to be on the show, please, if you are into jazz, what we would like to hear is a jazz story, like we've been telling. Any artists that you've met or venues that you've been to. Doesn't have to be West Coast. That was just my influence. And it could be, we even have an artist that was on our show not too long ago from Paris. And he played all the venues
Right.
over there. Or if you play an instrument yourself or an aspired jazz vocalist, give us a call. And we will, at the end of the show, Richard will put up a phone number. They can get a hold of us. And we'll try to get you on the show. But keep it within the big band era, progressive jazz, blues. We do not feature avant-garde. We don't feature classic jazz. So try to keep it within those realms, and then we'll get back to you and say, yes, we'd like to have you on the show.
And can't they go to the website too, which is www.jazzwithvon.com?
Correct.
Okay.
Which is under construction at the moment, but as soon as that's up, we'll be putting that out.
Yeah.
And what channels, Richard, are we going to be previewed on?
Well, we're going to be on Southwest Community Television, and that's channel 15.
Okay.
So that's Channel 15, Southwest Community Television, CCX Create.
And then in the northern,
We're in the
suburbs.
northern.
Yeah, we're in the northern suburbs. CCX Create, which is on channel 20.
So CCX Create is on Channel 20 in the southern
Suburbs.
suburbs, and Southwest TV.
Southwest is southern.
I'm sorry,
We're in the
of course,
north- we're in the-
Southwest, yeah, Southwest Community Television in the southern suburbs.
Okay. Well, Cher, do we have another song that we can introduce?
Yes, we do. We have, and I love this song because it's got a lot of Latin jazz horn feel to it, and it just makes you feel good. And it's called El Pussycat by Manto Santa Maria, and this is from 1959 or 1965. I'm sorry. And once again, it is Mondo Santa Maria with El Pussycat, and I think you'll enjoy this on
I'm
West
looking
Coast
forward to it.
Jazz.
Now, everybody, do it. A pussycat.
Oh my gosh,
I
that
know.
was so fun.
That's for Vaughn. I know you're a cat person. Well, me too.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely. Oh God, that's cute.
It transports you back to 1965. I mean, you could just imagine girls in mini skirts.
Yeah,
and the
right,
high
right. The
boots.
boots. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Oh my God.
What's it, Nancy Sinatra?
That's right.
Boots are made for
Yeah,
walking.
right.
so,
Exactly.
yeah.
Oh my God, too fun.
And if anybody is old enough to remember that period, they had Felix the Cat
Oh,
on the
sure.
cartoons.
Yeah, I remember.
And I remember him prancing across on top of a fence and this music being played behind him. So that was kind of fun in those
Yeah.
days. But
What a
Good.
strong horn presence in that
know.
song. So, do we know how many musicians were playing at that same time? I mean, who was playing and what was?
on that recording,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I have a researcher that can look up the orchestra, and it'll probably say, most of those big bands were 16, 17, and 18 piece.
Wow.
So and they usually had 2, 3 saxophones, 2, 3 trumpets, 2, 3 trombones. So see, that's 9. And then you had at least 2 percussionists, a regular drum, and some type of a, they're in a percussion group, the keyboard. But you also had a lot of these songs, especially with the Latin influence, had the like the old washboards where they would make that sound in the background, and then you had a few featured artists that would join them and fill up the whole complement.
It just sounds to me like, you know, a younger person, like maybe a 20-year-old or something, would find that so decadent, you know, because you go to see a band playing, you're not seeing this massive, big orchestra band playing. And it's something, when you're listening to these songs, there's a richness to it, and you can't quite put your finger on it, but when you talk about the size of the band, then all of a sudden, that's why there's this depth and richness of sound.
Exactly.
Right?
I think what we're doing here is important too, because you mentioned 20-year-olds. I would say, I have a grandson that's 13 years old, and he just loves this. So we can introduce this music to the younger generation, especially if they are aspiring to be a musician. They can listen to the instruments that they're playing in the big bands and what they did and what they could do. The other group that's pretty important and is a great following of this music is the college students. They're actually, the Minnesota Jazz Orchestra is renowned nationwide, and I know a lot of the students that are taking music and jazz at all the universities and colleges, would be aspired to this. And there's a lot of venues open to them, and a lot of them we now have in the Twin City area. I believe last time I looked, 7 jazz clubs. When I first moved up here in the late 60s, there was like 1.
Really?
But it was mostly country western and a lot of polka and that type of music, and of course orchestra hall. But there was only 1 jazz club, and now it's grown to 7. The vinyl records are coming back.
Yeah, I know, really strong.
Right, I have a couple up here, and if you can go to the record stores and find good collector item vinyls, they are going up and up and up in price, and you get to listen to a lot of the musicians that brought jazz to America, if you will.
Sure.
So, okay, what do we have next, Cher?
We have, closing out here pretty soon, we have Blues for the Count by Gerald Wilson. And I found this interesting about Gerald Wilson, because not only did he have his own career, but he also, as a band leader, but he wrote arrangements for, and this is just to name a few, Duke Ellington, Sarah Vaughan, Ray Charles, Julie London, Dizzy Gillespie, Ella Fitzgerald, Benny Carter, Lionel Hampton, Billie Holiday, Dinah Washington, and Nancy Wilson.
Wow.
That's just to name a few. Can you imagine?
Wow.
He wrote pieces for all those people.
Well,
That is crazy, isn't it?
Impressive.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
When I graduated, they asked if anybody wanted to be on the committee to select the graduation band for a class. And I right away put my hand up, and I said, well, what about Gerald Wilson? I had actually met Gerald Wilson a couple of times, and as I mentioned, he would come up and down the West Coast and teach us aspiring jazz artists and how to write and arrange. And so I was already reading music and playing music, but the writing and the arranging was new to me, and I just fell in love with it. Well, anyway, the selection committee didn't know of him, and they said, sure, why not? Well, that kind of backfired on me. So we have the Gerald Wilson, which you're going to hear in a minute, at our graduation party.
Oh my gosh.
And students started coming up to me, sort of upset. And I said, well, what's wrong? And they said, you can't dance to this music.
Oh no.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I did go up to Gerald and I said, can you play some dance music? I don't know if you got any on your. So let's listen to Gerald Wilson.
Yeah. Is he one of your favorites?
Absolutely.
Because I wrote down on here favorite. Of
Favorite.
yours. Yeah, I say I remember.
Absolutely. I have 3 favorites, but we'll get into that later.
All right, 1949. And that was Blues for the Count by Gerald Wilson. And I was just saying that, like, over the past hour, we played songs from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and they're just timeless.
Totally.
I mean, they all just sound as fresh as, they were back then.
They
Don't you
do.
think?
I do.
Yeah.
I think so completely. But they also have enough of a spirit for their decade that you kind of feel transported to
Right.
whatever,
Definitely.
like the Pussycat song, you can just picture the
Right.
mini skirts and that's definitely
Yeah,
the
definitely,
60s and,
And
you-
the lounge with Milt Jackson in it. You could hear him in the background. Yeah,
Yeah.
It was all cool, That's what I love about the show, because I think you're going to get a mix of all this different stuff and live and everything else. And it's, like you say, it's going to transport you to different eras and just
Absolutely.
take you to different places.
And do yourself a favor for all of our viewers. Whether you access your music online or a record store or whatever, however you access your music, go out and download or get some of these albums or songs and listen to them. Listen to them in your car. Listen to them in the morning when you're having your cup of coffee. Let this music get into your daily life, because
Right.
it adds a whole nother flavor to what you've got going on.
Well,
sure.
before we end the show, let me introduce our last artist, King Pleasure. I don't know if you can see that up there. This is a subgenre, if I can use that, for jazz, and it's called scat music. Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, names of that decade got into scat. They wanted, it was kind of like when bebop left the old big bands. Scat came out from artists, singers for the most part, that wanted to express a desire that they had to make a song different from the original. So with that, let's introduce King Pleasure, and this is our goodbye song.
Goodbye. You know I hate to leave you, baby, but I'm leaving anyway. So long. You knew I'd have to leave you, baby, when you treated me this way. Don't cry. And if it's written for us, baby, maybe some old rainy day I'm gone. Perhaps you'll understand the reasons why you're driving me away. Farewell. Then maybe we can be together in the same old crazy way. Take care. And so long. Goodbye, my darling. I know I was wrong when I thought that you could return the same love that I have, all for you, dear. But you still didn't care enough to ever try to love me. Why didn't you love me? Why didn't you ever love me? Maybe you'll understand the reasons why you're letting me go when, oh, I love you so. gave you money, comfort too, loved you only you, dear. But you didn't care a thing about me. All you wanted was to have your fun without me. Oh, my darling, how could you hurt me so? Baby, when all I did was love you. Oh, what a terrible, terrible feeling. Now, baby, I'm going away. Dry your eyes and don't you cry, because your tears won't make me stay. I'm really quitting if it's written and it's written. Never start all over again. Maybe then if it's written and the Lord above is willing, maybe then you'll understand the reasons. And baby, we'll be together then, never to part again. I wanna love you, put no one above you, save up and love me till I come back again. Perhaps someday I really will come back, but until then, it's over, it's through. True, our love affair is all over, my little baby. Baby, it's all over with, 'cause you said you didn't want me. Don't you cry because it's all over. Dry your eyes, baby, look to the future. Baby, it's all over, yes, it's over. All over with, all over with, all over with, all over with. Baby, don't you cry, can't you see? I love you, you never loved me. Honey, now, please, goodbye. You know I hate to leave you, baby, but I'm leaving anyway. So long. You knew I'd have to leave you, baby, when you treated me this way. Don't cry. And if it's written for us, baby, some old rainy day, I'm gone. Perhaps you'll understand the reasons why you've driven me away. Farewell. Then maybe we can be together. And we can be together in the same old way.
Tonight's program was edited by yours truly, Richard A. Claddy.
Hello, my name is Von Norberg, and I'm the producer and host of West Coast Jazz. We hope you've been watching our show that's out. You can catch that at 10 locations in the Twin Cities, as well as visit our website at www.jazzwithvon.com, and it'll take you right to our shows and bring you information that you might need. And again, thanks for watching our show. Hello again, I'm Von Norberg, and I'm the host and producer of West Coast Jazz. We are doing a joint production with Southwest Community Television Studio in Bloomington and CCX Create Studio in Brooklyn Park. Our producer, executive producer, is Richard A. Claddy. If you're in the northern suburbs and you would like to join our group in assisting us with the production of television and podcast, please contact us through our website at www.jazzwithvon.com. That again is www.jazzwithvon.com. Thank you.
Welcome, Mr. Jazzman.
Hey, thank you,
Good
Richard.
to see you. Find the studio right here in Bloomington?
It was wonderful, easy directions, thanks to you.
Great people here.